Everybody wants to be known for their craft. When someone talks about your character, or like even because there are a billion DJs that are amazing at what they do, but only you could be you. Aside from what they see, who do you want people to think about when they think about DJ Neil Armstrong? Like, all right, so here we are.
Yes.
We are finally here. Well, see, for me, we're finally here because I've been wanting to interview you for some time. I will admit this to you. I think my exposure with you, aside from just hearing your music, you know, mixtapes and whatnot, was I went to an event in Chelsea, and you were doing this event where it was like a soccer event.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a soccer event, and I think Adidas was hosting it.
It's called Adidas Fanatic.
Yeah.
Every year.
And it was cool because a friend of mine was like, oh, she's a photographer, she's like, come through, you know, you got to see this DJ Neil Armstrong. And what was really amazing was to just watch how you were so comfortable in what you were doing, but also commanded.
Yes, I mean, that's why we end up becoming DJs.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to interact. Like, we could be at a party and be involved and influence what's happening, but we don't even have to talk to anyone. We're in our own little bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's how I am. I know a lot of DJs are like that, you know, we're a little more soft-spoken, you know, like introverted, yeah, like especially the music heads. Maybe nowadays it's a little different.
Yeah.
You know, Steve Aoki is representative of being a DJ now, but before it wasn't like that. It was, you know, we let our hands speak. You know, we're over here talking about how I fell in love with hip hop, and I actually am from Queens. I was born there, but I moved out to Jersey City, and I am an advocate of Jersey City. Y'all should move here if you can, but this is a cool little hip hop history lesson right here. This building right here is where the old Flavor unit used to be. So Queen Latifah's whole clique, but this was their headquarters, and it is one of them, you know, historically protected spots. Used to be a firehouse, and whatever, Freddie Fox, Queen Latifah, Tretch, and all that, the whole Flavor unit used to be over here, and this is where, I don't know if the studio was in here, but their office was in here for sure, but this is where a lot of that magic happened.
You were already familiar with all the different cultures, but knowing that hip-hop was obviously predominantly African-American, was it ever awkward for you, or were you ever like you said, when you saw a certain DJ who looked kind of like you DJing, you're like, well, if he could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
Was race ever like a concern of yours, or did you want to be like, I want to be the best Filipino in New York?
I'm a Filipino kid from Queens who went to Cooper Union, and I DJ'd for Jay-Z. Right. Like, what else do you need? What do you need? Like, what are you gonna? Like, what excuse are you gonna make?
Yeah. When I first walked into your crib, I was like, oh, I'm thinking like he's been an Adidas head his whole life. And you're like, no, actually it happened backwards.
Yeah. Exactly.
So did you not care about sneakers at all growing up? Like I want to know the deal.
I didn't care to the point where I've never stood in line for a pair of sneakers, not once in my life. I mean, like later on you'll probably do a little run through of some stuff I have here, and I got boxes all over the place. I was the dude who wore the same pair of kicks for like
the whole year, right? Yeah. There's no difference between gym and daytime. Yeah.
You know, I'd run them into the ground until the wheels fall off. And, you know, that comes where I'm not being a rich kid and having priorities a little more straight. I was really more interested in buying records than buying sneakers. So, yeah, none of that was important to me. But later on, when I started working with Adidas, that was one of the perks. And it just so happened that now everybody wants to wear the sneakers that I have. Yeah. So,
for people who don't know I guess the culture of DJs, they just assume everyone's kind of
the same.
Yeah. So what, I mean, I guess, let me just ask you, like, what got you into this? Like, where did it start for you as a DJ?
You'd probably have to go back to when I was a kid. So I was lucky enough to grow up in New York during, I guess, what is called the golden era of hip hop. De La Soul's first album came out, Public Enemy's first album came out, Slick Rick's first album came out. That's the music that kind of stuck with me. And I think that I don't know about these days, but back in the day, like, you know, if you listened to Metallica when you were a kid, that's probably what you would end up listening to for the rest of your life. And my Metallica was hip hop.
Like
one of the earlier conferences was this thing called the New Music Seminar.
Who's going first? Sound check, right side. DJ Flamboyant. All right, chill.
So the New Music Seminar initially was more like a rock, independent, you know, music type place. And eventually hip hop got introduced to it, mostly via Clark Kent. A lot of that, you know, this is pre-internet days, so I don't even know if a lot of kids know about this time period, but it was like extremely formative. A lot of things happened. But fast forward to 1994, I got to go to basically what would end up being the last one. And that's where I saw Supernatural Battle Craig G. I ended up going to that seminar. I met a lot of cats. Among the crews that I ended up hanging out with is the Arsonists. So I ended up kind of meeting up with them, meeting up a bunch of really big DJs at the time. I decided, I guess at that point, that I wanted to not just be a fan anymore and join.
This is the glamorous or not so glamorous portion of being a DJ. You're doing something right now.
That we're gonna talk.
We're gonna talk this in, everyone. But it has to be done. You know, we see DJs and it looks like very, oh, they're spinning and they're doing this, but there's these technical buttons and whatnot that I'm sure if something is not working correctly, like a piano, right? It's not gonna work properly.
I'm still running with a Rain 62. This was one of my sponsors back in the day. Unfortunately, Rain got sold, and I don't really know how well they're gonna do anymore. As far as like their product isn't gonna be made in the U.S. and a lot of people have kind of moved on, but I still got this one, so I'm just fixing it. You got like that was one of the things with most DJs from my era. Like we fixed our equipment, like we, you know, did a lot of DIY stuff. It's kind of a real nerdy culture. I don't know if club DJs do this. You know, I don't know if they do this really. But we do. Like, you know, my background, we all do this. I don't have to send this away to fix it. I could do it myself. My long-term manager, Sky Galatly, he used to work at MTV, and he knew my stuff because he was on the servers. And, you know, and he had been a fan separately already. Essentially, there's a guy named Ashley Nichols who was Damon Dash's, I guess, like personal assistant, road manager, and he would also take care of Jay sometimes. And Jeff and his clique told me this story secondhand. He was like, yo, Jay knows your stuff. Like, he was like, Jay's heard your mixtapes. Supposedly, and I've never really repeated this in a interview.
In a public forum.
In an interview, because I still don't really believe it's ridiculous to be. But according to what Ashley Nichols told them, he was like, they said that when Jay heard how I made my mixtapes, which involved like a lot of like sound clips from movies and you know, to kind of interweave the story of the mixtape, he was like, this is what I want to do for like the Black album. This is what I want to do for this album. And my boy Daddy Dog, who was there, who makes fun of me for the Wu-Tang, you know, soft stuff, he was like, that wasn't Jay-Z, that was Jay-Zone. It was Jay-Zone who did it. And, you know, we'd just be laughing about it. I mean,
you're like, maybe, why not?
Well, I never, I was like, either way, I was like, yeah, whatever, you guys are yanking my chain, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I ended up DJing for Jay, so I don't know.
I love this, by the way. I really do. I need you to tell me about Poe.
What is this?
Yeah, I need you to, what's going on? This is beautiful, really. I mean, even just with the backdrop, I want you to tell me everything.
Well, this is my dog of what have now have been 18 years, I guess. But he passed away 2 years ago. at the age of 16. So he's a senior dog that I've, you know, had pretty much my whole adult life. But he's been a lot of places as a little puppy. Basically, what ended up happening was he got diagnosed with kidney failure, and depending on what part of kidney failure you're in, like, there's no cure. So I get this news about 2 years ago, and I decide, you know what, I am gonna do whatever I can to just have fun with this guy.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, at the time she was my fiance, we drop everything and decide we're gonna bring him to California to go swim, because he's never gotten to do that. His story becomes, we call it Poda Dog's Big Adventure, and we give him his own Instagram. And initially, the only people that were following were friends of mine. We took a cross-country road trip across the U.S. that took about a month and a half, just to get this guy some adventures. We come back, and maybe like a month after we get back, his story goes viral. And about this, you know, dog taking a bucket list road trip. And by the end of Poe's life, he went from, I don't know, obviously having no Instagram followers to having 130,000 followers. His story ended up getting picked up in, you know, I had friends in Australia who saw us, Argentina. We were, of course, very sad, and we missed him, blah, blah, blah. You know, of course, that's normal human feeling, but we tried to do something very positive with our experience and his platform. So me and my wife started fostering dogs and being advocates for shelter dogs. We got him from the North Shore Animal League. He was literally the poster child for what they're trying to do.
Well, you mentioned DJ, and I always, I'm scared to ask sometimes, but I'm gonna just ask you.
All right.
Do you consider all DJs that call themselves DJs, DJs?
That's a good question. No, the short answer is no.
Okay.
The short answer is no.
The shortest word.
But I am not one of the more critical people or the, you know, bitter people. I still think there's a place for different types of DJs, and, you know, whatever. It does get difficult because, you know, we believe, or we like to think that things that we do, it's like a meritocracy, right? No matter what we do.
Yeah.
We would like to think that, like, oh, the best camera dudes, the best, you know, they're the ones who get paid the most.
Yeah.
But no, it's who you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Another no.
Yeah. Who you know. It just doesn't, you know, that's the reality. We don't live in a bubble where it works that way. So there's definitely DJs out there who are not my favorite, and you know, that I don't think Paris Hilton should be getting paid a crap load of money to DJ.
Sure.
But she does.
Yeah.
If she wants to call herself a DJ and people want to believe it, I mean, I can't really argue that either. But
what would you call them? Like, if you could make a word up?
Man, that's really tough.
And not even
I mean,
to be mean.
The term is celebrity DJ. A lot of those guys, as far as that,
that's actually very nice of you to say. That's very nice.
They're celebrities
that
also happen to DJ, and yeah, there is a valid place for that. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a place for it, so I understand. But it does suck because there's a lot of people who actually, you know, do this craft, die for it, and they'll never either never get known or never get compensated in that way financially.
Yeah.
So it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And then there's just other people who don't really do all this stuff that I do. Like, they don't fix their mixers, they just buy a new one.
Yeah.
they don't collect records, they don't, you know, do all this stuff. And, you know, but this is my kind of DJing, and I'm not necessarily going to dismiss what everyone else does.
Right.
And short answer is definitely no. There's people out there who are famous for DJing that probably have no business.
Right.
And Questlove told me this story. So Questlove was the music director for the first tour with Mary. So this was the first time that Jay was officially incorporating a band. Like he had done stuff with American Gangster, and he did like, you know, one-off type stuff, and of course on the Black album, like when he retired,
right? I remember.
The band. I was part of the band, the Rock Boys, part of them, and Questlove was on the thing, and he was like, you know, a lot of people feel like the underground won. That with you being Jay's DJ, they feel like you know, yes, the underground. We got someone from, you know, who came up with us, and he made it. You know, I guess at the time it would have been made more sense. Maybe like if it was a Clue, it was someone like the, you know, like the G Unit dude, like Cool Kid, like someone like that. No, it was you. Who was not. It was so far removed from that stuff that I didn't even listen to it. You know? So
that's dope. Who do you want people to think about when they think about DJ Neil Armstrong? Like who are you? You know what I mean? Like aside from what they see, but as far as like your personal message, like what do you want to kind of like, you know?
I would hope that people kind of just look at everything I've done and put it together, and you know, it's the sum of what I've done. Caring for Poe the dog and trying to turn that negative into a positive, and you know, losing him and fostering animals. You know, not being a typical, you know, when people still think of a hip hop DJ, I'm sure they have something in their head. I don't fit that. And for anyone. For Asian kids, for black kids, for Latino kids, for anyone. But I would like to think that I've broken stereotypes and expectations and made people think. Like what it is. What it is to be a hip hop DJ, what it is to be human. You know, all that type of stuff. You know, just be like, you know what, that Neil guy was a pretty nice dude. He was a really cool dude that really wanted to be out there to make other people happy, and you know, with his music. And
I appreciate you for allowing us in your crib for hours upon hours. His wife is probably like
sweating.
Sweating. We've been sweating all day long. But not for real, you know. And you know, I'd love to come out and see you rock again, you know, at some point soon. And thank you again. Awesome. So that's it. It's your girl Raven, DJ Neil Armstrong, who's now turning on the AC because it's hot as all here. And we're out. Peace.
Looking so out of control. I am the fittest, sipping ice, ginger liquids. The kid is sick with it, why shorties wanna mix with them. Caddy's topless and everybody listens. Tell me when to go, E40's got the